I never thought I would end up having to have the police keep you out of my house. I can't believe that you're my mother-in-law. Huh? What are you talking about? What did I do? Are you really trying to play dumb right now? I actually thought about reconsidering if you quickly apologized, but clearly that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. It's as you say. I have no idea what you're talking about, Phoebe. You come over here every day and steal. It doesn't matter what it is. You have no qualms about stealing things. I'm tired of it. Huh? I am not going to deal with this any longer. I'm calling the police. Why do you think I did that? Isn't it obvious? The only one who doesn't live in this house who has our key is you. I mean, yes, I have it for safekeeping, but I haven't used it a single time. Do you really think I'm going to believe that? I'm not trying to make you believe anything. I'm in the hospital right now. Huh? The hospital? Yes. I'm going to be hospitalized for about a week. I didn't want to worry you, so I kept quiet about it. So you've been slipping out of the hospital to continue your stealing streak? Are you crazy? Of course not. I'm not allowed to leave the building. But then, who did this? Have you reported the thefts to the police, Phoebe? Not yet. I figured that if the thief was in the family, we should be the ones to deal with it. If we could get the culprit to give back the things they stole, I thought that would be fine. Brian is aware of this too, right? Yes. I'm going to talk to Mom soon as well. I hadn't wanted to talk to her about it at first because I wanted to try to resolve it myself first. But now I guess there is no real choice anymore. So, I'll talk to my mom about it. Sorry for doubting you. You don't need to apologize. I think I would have done the same thing if I were in your shoes. What was stolen, anyway? Well, first it was some of my perfume and makeup. That does make it sound like the culprit was a woman. Yes, that's what I thought at first, too. But then they got more brazen, going as far as stealing some of our appliances. Really? They're going that far? Yeah. My hairdryer and curling iron are gone, too. Yesterday, our toaster oven vanished as well. I'm getting more and more worried. I'm already not able to do my daily routine, and who knows what else is going to be stolen. In a panic, I just texted you with that accusation. Is that the extent of what was stolen? Nothing else is missing? Yes. I'm pretty sure everything else is accounted for. What in the world is going on? For those sorts of things to be stolen is extremely strange. You definitely need to contact the police. Yeah, you're right. I do. Now that I think of it, you don't think Jane could be the culprit, do you? That doesn't make any sense to me. Why would she steal her own family's things? All she would be doing is making herself look worse for no real benefit. Yeah, that's true. That's definitely scary, though. Have you thought of putting up hidden cameras or something like that? Yeah, I thought about doing that, but getting those cameras would be really expensive. So I've been hesitant to pull the trigger on that idea. You might be able to rent them for less. You can just return them after you catch the culprit. I'll look into that. That's a good idea. Thanks. What hospital are you in? I can come to see you. Please don't trouble yourself. I'll be discharged pretty soon anyway. What were you in there for, if you don't mind me asking? Oh, it was just some stomach trouble. They mostly wanted me there for observation because of my age. Don't worry about it. Observation or not, if you were in the hospital, I can't just forget about it. Being a bit worried for you is reasonable, I think. Don't you think you have enough to be worried about as it is? Just think about your own concerns and don't worry about me. Okay, I understand. Well, once you're out of the hospital, let's do something to celebrate your recovery. That sounds like a wonderful idea. I'll look forward to it. Barbara, things haven't gotten any better. I'm still at a loss here. I rented some cameras and put them up around the house, but the entire time I had them up, nothing happened. And yet, the day after I returned them, the thief returned and more things were stolen. What? The only people who knew about me returning the cameras were me and Brian. You're not telling me that Brian was the culprit after all. I talked to the police, and after some investigation, they concluded that the culprit had to have come from the family. They even dusted for prints and didn't find any that weren't from our family. But that doesn't mean much. The thief could have just been wearing gloves. I mean, I did place a camera at the entrance of the house, too. Since we're only renting this place, I didn't think it was a good idea to go overboard on anything, but it seems like it didn't really help at all, huh? It might be better if you moved out of your house into a secure apartment complex, someplace with an entry gate. With this whole thief problem popping up, it's caused a serious spike in our expenses. I'm not sure if we can really do that at the moment. I guess that's true, isn't it? I guess if it's come to this, it could really only be Brian, couldn't it? Maybe he ended up having some trouble with money that led him to it? Phoebe, I'm sorry. I've been actually keeping quiet about something this whole time. Huh? What do you mean? Well, the thing is, I recently got a present from him. I don't see what's so strange about that. He's your son. Shouldn't that be normal? Well, he got me a really expensive name-brand handbag. I think he might have stolen those things to help pay for it. If that's really what he did, I don't see why he couldn't have just talked to me about it beforehand. We could have worked something out. This isn't the only time he's done this, though. Huh? I told him multiple times that I can't keep accepting gifts, but he just won't listen. He seems obsessed with giving me things. I had no idea. He asked me to keep it a secret from you. I'm really sorry. Could you not tell him that I told you? I understand. I hope he hasn't been giving other women gifts with that sort of fervor. I'd like to believe he hasn't. But, wait, hold on a minute. What is it? For him to steal the things he did from our house and sell them, I don't think he would have been able to buy something that expensive. His salary isn't high enough to just let him make such a huge purchase by selling a couple things. I suppose not. He may have also done other things to make the rest of the money. No, he can't have possibly. As his mother, I am horrified at his actions. I can't apologize enough. No, there's no need for you to apologize. It's not your fault. He may be your son, but remember that he's an adult too. You shouldn't be putting the blame on yourself for what he does. They're his choices to make. This really is a problem, though. If my son turns out to be a criminal, how am I going to explain this to the neighbors? I can understand that. It's never nice to have to admit that someone in your own family is a thief. Well, what do you intend to do now? Well, I don't really want to do anything too drastic myself. So I'm going to start by talking to Brian directly first. If he doesn't own up to it, I'm afraid I might have to consider a divorce. Yes, I understand that. I do hope he comes clean without much trouble, though. I've been his wife for 5 years now. I should have no trouble telling if he's lying. Let's hope it's that easy. I'll decide whether or not I need to get the police involved after I speak with him. Okay, I understand. How have you been feeling? It's been a little while since I was discharged from the hospital, and I'm feeling a lot better now. Thank you for asking. That's good to hear. Don't go pushing yourself, though, okay? I'll be careful. Thank you. I know what's been going on, Brian. You're the one who's been stealing things. Phoebe is calling the police to arrest you as we speak. What? Why? Why in the world would I be stealing things from my own house? You gave me that fancy handbag, remember? I talked with Phoebe about it. And since then, I've just been doubting you more and more.
Why? That was a Mother's Day gift.
There wasn't a single fingerprint from anyone outside the family, right? No matter how you look at it, things aren't looking very good for you.
But shouldn't that be the same for Phoebe? We'd both be worthy of suspicion.
The timing of when Phoebe put up and took down the hidden cameras is too perfect with when the theft started up again. Suspicion is really piling up against you, I hope you realize.
That doesn't make sense at all. How could anyone make a lot of money from selling those heavily used, rundown appliances?
Well, if they stole some of the newest things you had, couldn't they fetch a high price?
Maybe, but we don't have anything new like that. Our toaster oven that was stolen was over 5 years old, and we'd been using it constantly. The only place I imagine you could sell the things that were stolen would be at a thrift store, and you're certainly not making much money there.
I guess that is strange, isn't it?
And the hairdryer? We actually do have a newer, more expensive one, but the old one was the only one stolen.
Really? Are you saying that the culprit's motive wasn't money, then?
I can't say for sure, but we certainly can't rule it out.
I'm sorry. It just seemed so strange, and I guess I thought you were a bit suspicious.
Honestly?
You can't blame me for thinking that, can you? You got me that super expensive handbag. I couldn't believe that you could afford something like that.
Why not? I'm making quite a lot of money, remember?
You are?
Yes, I'm making $25,000 or so.
What are you talking about? That's nowhere near a lot of money. That's practically at the poverty line.
No, that's how much I make every month.
Huh? Really?
If we take into account bonuses, I generally make a good bit more than that, too. That designer handbag I got for you? It might seem pricey to some, but that amount was practically pocket change for me.
So that means there's absolutely no reason for you to be stealing things, then?
That's what I've been trying to tell you. There's no reason I'd be trying to secretly sell off our appliances for the pittances they get.
This is really troubling. I was accused as well, since I'm the only one who has a spare key to your house. I really hope we can get this resolved soon.
Do you mind if I stop by tonight? There's something I wanted to talk to you about.
Okay, sure. I'll be around. Brian denied being the thief. He said there's no way it could be him. Yes, it seems that way. I'm done. I give up. This has caused enough trouble for everyone. Are you sure? Yes. I'm tired of having to suspect my own family. It sounds to me like you want to shut the door on this case before suspicion falls on you. I'm sorry? Brian came by and talked to me recently, and we talked about a number of things. After talking it through, we decided to hire a private investigator and have them look into you. What? Why would you do something like that? Because you're the one stealing things. Don't try to play dumb at this point. No, it's not me. Oh, is that so? Then why don't you explain to me something about this apartment you've been renting? My apartment? That's where you use the appliances and cosmetics you quietly snuck out of the house with. Isn't that right? To think that you've been acting as a housewife while also keeping another man hidden someplace else. So you're telling me you found out about everything, then? Yes. The investigator Brian hired was tailing you. When he gave us his report, I was so surprised that I almost collapsed from shock. I've got to say, I'm pretty shocked myself. Huh? What nonsense are you going on about? You're the one who did this! How could you be surprised? I was surprised when I saw the report from the investigation into you. What? Me? I felt like your actions had been pretty suspicious for a while now, so I had Brian get an investigator to look into you. Wait, huh? I'm confused.
You're the one who had a tail put on them, not me.
Incidentally, I'm not renting an apartment of any kind. Oh, I should also mention that the whole theft issue was all a lie from the start.
What?
Setting up cameras, talking to the police, having them dust for prints. That was all made up. I didn't do any of it.
You tricked me? How could you?
I could say the same to you. You lied about being in the hospital after all, didn't you? I talked to your husband about it, and he said you've been at home the whole time.
You spoke to Trevor, but he just misunderstood what was going on.
Don't try to come up with some pathetic excuse. I already know about everything.
Know about what? I have no idea what you're getting at.
You used the key to our house so you could get in and steal money, didn't you?
You think I stole money from you? I expected a crazy answer from you, but not something like this.
You think I'm joking? I laid a trap when I brought up how the culprit had to be someone in the family. You got flustered about how you might be suspected, didn't you?
No, that's just ridiculous.
You were the one who recommended I put up cameras and pushed me to talk to the police. That was all an act to try to keep me from being suspicious of you, wasn't it?
That's quite enough. I don't deserve to be treated like this.
That's my line. You knew how our rental agreement with our landlord was arranged. You knew that they came here to receive the money directly from us.
And? What about it?
It's through that knowledge that you knew that at the end of every month we had over $1,000 here in cash.
What do you mean by that? That's not a logical connection to make.
You knew and came to take a $100 bill or two every month, didn't you? You tried to make it hard to notice anything was taken.
Are you seriously accusing me again? I've told you, I haven't used the key I've been holding on to.
The landlord came today, and when we checked the envelope we keep our payment in, it was missing $200.
I have no idea how that could have happened.
Oh, really now? All of the money was there up until the day before yesterday. Now isn't that strange? It's obvious that someone stole the money yesterday.
You're a homemaker. You should do a better job keeping track of your household's finances.
It's because I do such a good job of it that we've got trouble here.
Then obviously Brian's the one who did it. Isn't that obvious?
Brian makes a lot of money already. He keeps a couple $100 on him at all times without a second thought. He's the last person who would want to go stealing from the rent for his own house.
What? Brian makes over 25 grand a month and he only carries a couple $100?
Oh, that was also a lie.
Wait, what? What was the lie? The couple hundred or the 25 grand? I'm completely lost.
Brian makes just an average salary. Nothing so crazy as making 25 grand a month.
Then why did he lie and claim he made so much?
He said that to trick you into coming to steal again. We figured that if he told you that he made a lot of money, you wouldn't feel as guilty about taking more, since the amount you were taking would pale in comparison.
That was all just a ruse!
Yes, and I'd say that it worked perfectly. Thank you for cluing me in as to there being cameras for rent. They were a great help.
Wait, hold on.
No. Brian only gave you a designer handbag once, yet you claimed he gave you a number of expensive things. You remember that, right?
I'm not sure I recall.
By doing that, you were trying to find some way to cast doubt on either your own son or his wife. And I had to put up with your terrible attempts at deception, all the while seething with rage at what you were trying to do.
How dare you speak to me that way?
At first, I really had no idea why money just seemed to be vanishing from the house. I was totally clueless. I spoke with Brian about it, and he brought up the idea that you might have been the one stealing it. We came up with this plan in order to get proof of your actions.
Couldn't you have just set up a camera to watch the money instead of beating around the bush like this?
The thefts only occurred once a month, so we obviously only had one chance a month to catch the culprit. We noticed the money being stolen last month, so we wanted to do all we could to catch them this month. And you decided to come up with this ludicrous plan then. We thought that if we brought up how someone was stealing things from our house, you might end up just outing yourself out of pity. We thought that you might deny stealing any of our appliances while also using the opportunity to apologize for what you did do, since it would seem like a smaller issue in comparison. If you had done that, we probably wouldn't be nearly as angry about the situation. But no. Instead, you decided that you would try to make me or Brian out to be the culprit. Calling that disappointing would be a gross understatement. Oh, well, that's it, I guess. Looks like you found me out. That's a shame. I really enjoyed the thrill that came from the whole ordeal, too. From what the investigator told us, it seems you've been shoplifting from a bunch of stores, too. Oh, you found out about that, too. We have proof of it all. Now we can go to the police and show everything to them, but... Brian said he would prefer it if you simply turned yourself in instead. That's not happening. Really? Why don't you just stop all this already? Why would I? I've got quite the knack for shoplifting. No one has caught me doing it up until now. Is there something you would like, Phoebe? I can just as easily pick up something for you. No. Please don't make such blatant attempts to bribe me. It's not like I'm doing this because I want money or anything. If you're not doing it for the money, then why? If I wanted money, I would have sold the handbag Brian got me a long time ago. I'm in it for the excitement. My heart pounding as I walk out the door with my prize, doing my best to act casual. I must say, it's addicting. You really ought to try it sometime. Now that I think of it, you could be my lookout. How does that sound? Stop taking this so lightly. Brian spent a long time saving money to buy that handbag for you. And this is what you're doing? He shouldn't have wasted his time like that. All I would have had to do is take it, and it would have been free. Though, I suppose it might have been hard to get something like that. Security in those high-class stores is always so tight. Brian told me about how there was one time in his childhood that stuck in his memory. He told me about how you were watching TV and said that you had always wanted something truly high-class from a designer recognized the world over. He never forgot about that, and did his best to save up and finally make that wish come true for you. And what do you do in response? You trample all over his feelings, brushing them aside like they're worthless garbage. Do you even understand how horrible you've made him feel from all this? He really remembered that. He really is a kind boy, isn't he? Meanwhile, you're nothing but a kleptomaniac. What's that now? I'm afraid I don't know what you mean. I'm saying you're someone who just can't stop stealing. It doesn't matter if it's from a shop or a house. You just want to steal. You have a mental disorder, and you need help. What? Are you saying I'm insane or something? Then that makes me innocent. No, far from it. You can't just plead insanity for something like that. You're keenly aware that what you're doing is wrong, and you know the penalties involved. You're not going to escape your guilt so easily. Are you saying you're going to get me arrested? No! That would be utterly shameful. You're in danger of going to jail and you're worried about the embarrassment? How about the rest of the family? Brian has to live with knowing that his mother is a thief, and I have to bear that burden with him. We want to rectify the whole situation. That's why he wants you to turn yourself in. It's all fine. I won't do something like that again. I'll return the money and items I stole. I only stole the things for fun, and I haven't used any of them. So it should be fine, no? Not by a long shot. Putting aside how your logic is like that of a 10-year-old, I have no doubt you'll do it again. Please don't do this. You can look past this, can't you? We've gotten along so well up until now. Yes, but that was before I found out you were a thief. What about Brian? Is he there with you? I'm sure that if I talked to him, he would understand. Why don't you take a guess as to why I'm talking to you via text messages about this rather than in person or on the phone? He's been the most hurt by this whole incident. I understand. Look, I'm sorry.
I've also spoken to Trevor about this whole situation. When he found out, he flew into a rage. I think right about now he's speaking with a lawyer about divorce proceedings.
What? Why is he abandoning me?
Maybe it has something to do with your complete lack of understanding of the shame of having a thief in the family. Do you think we would be able to shop at some of the stores you've stolen from like nothing happened? We've been to a lot of mom and pop shops, and with you having stolen from them, the best we could do is keep our distance from them now.
You're kidding.
Brian's already working on trying to reimburse the shops you've stolen from.
What?
I want you to imagine your son, who has done nothing wrong, apologizing in your stead and paying for what you have done. If you still want to be saved from the consequences of your actions after that, you might as well just run away now.
I'm already apologizing, aren't I?
The only things I'm getting from you are that you aren't reflecting on your actions at all, and that you don't really care about changing. Thank you for the 5 years I've spent knowing you. Please leave the care of Brian and your husband to me.
Please, wait. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm begging you. Please don't leave me alone.
Goodbye, Barbara. In the end, Barbara turned herself in. In total, the amount of things she had stolen from grocery, drug, and other stores were worth a bit over $10,000. Understandably, the scale of Brian's effort to repay the shops was considerable. Unfortunately, most of the neighborhood heard the news, and generally viewed our family pretty coldly after the incident. Thanks to that, Trevor, Brian, and I all decided to move someplace else. Brian changed jobs, too. Apparently, Barbara wasn't given a prison sentence for her actions, but in some ways a prison sentence might have been preferable. This whole incident lost her a house, her family, and all of her money. She had to completely start over from square one with no help. It didn't help that she was over 60 with very few marketable skills. She would have been lucky if she made much more than minimum wage. She didn't really end up managing to do much, though, as she continued her streak of shoplifting. She was eventually caught, and after enough repeat offenses, sent to prison. Perhaps that was her ultimate goal all along, but I'll never know for sure, as she hasn't tried to contact me ever since. We haven't found any evidence of her trying to get into contact with Trevor or Brian either, and I don't think she will ever try. All I hope is that she finally learns from all that she's done and lives her remaining years trying to be a more respectable member of society. Thanks for watching, everyone! If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.